Greetings travelers, I'm Cast Carbon, and welcome. So, if you're confused by that intro, that's fine. If you've watched anything on this channel before, things are different. Changing of names and changing of how I want to do stuff, and it's all a bit flumpy right now, but you know, I'm trying different things. Also, a quick note, I know that the last video I made, I promised to do a different review. I'll get around to that one eventually, but life gets in the way, you don't feel like doing things, and then you don't make a video. So I wasn't invested in finishing that video at the time. I don't have the footage anymore. Things have changed, so here we are, but moving forward I'm going to try and stay on track. As you've already seen from the title though, the subject of conversation today is going to be this, the Hasbro Black Series Clonetrooper Phase 2 helmet, which is a bloody mouthful, but here we are. This is what we're going to talk about. However, before we actually get into the helmet, I want to talk about the box. Now, me personally, I am not a person who cares about the box. I'm not that type of collector under normal circumstances. I'll buy a thing, I'll have the box, I will throw the box away. If it's something particularly nice, like a hot toy figure, that's a different situation. I will save the box for that. But for something like this, I don't give a shit about the box. I don't care. In this particular circumstance, I've saved the box because I want to talk about it just briefly. The box itself is a normal Black Series box, a normal helmet box, right? It's got the standard sort of Hasbro Black Series art on it and all that. But the keen observer will have noticed that my particular box, it has this big honkin' dent in it. That's a concerning thing. I purchased this helmet through Entertainment Earth, and I've not purchased from them many times, but my experiences to this point have been pretty good. Nothing problematic, no broken merchandise, nothing like that. This, when I opened the shipper box and I saw that this had a huge dent in it, my first thought was, well, great! My helmet might be busted. Awesome! That's what you want. And to clarify, here is the shipper box. All the sides of it are perfectly fine. There's no damage to the shipper box. What that tells me is that either Hasbro or maybe Entertainment Earth, somebody really didn't give a crap and they hit the box or something. So I don't know whether it's Hasbro's fault or whether it's Entertainment Earth's fault, but it's something I have experienced and I wanted to make sure to share. And like I said, I'm not the person who generally cares about the box, but I know there are people out there who are the collector mindseted type of folk. That's something to keep in mind, so stay frosty. Anyway, moving into the actual helmet itself, because that's what we're here to talk about. First thing I would talk about is the painting and the sculpting, and as far as I'm concerned, there's really no painting on this helmet. This is a plain white Clonetrooper helmet, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I'm sure being Hasbro and being under the Disney Star Wars umbrella, they will put out more clone helmets with different paint on it. That's fine. You know, if you're that type of person, I'm sure wait 10 minutes and you'll have the 501st helmet or whatever you're specifically wanting, but this is just plain plastic, right? So the white is white plastic, the little black in there and the greeblies on the front and all the internal stuff, it's all black plastic. The strip going around the helmet, that's actually a piece of gray plastic. There's no real paint on this so far as what I can find. And of course, to that point, seeing that all of the plastic, all the components of this thing are specifically molded in the proper color plastic, there's no paint to chip off. My only assumption on paint is that the mic tips on the little aerator bits on the front there, that's the only bit that I think is painted, but I'm not sure, and I've tried scratching it plenty of times, and nothing has happened to that silver, but the silver is nice, it's still there, it's not chipping off, so, you know, kudos, that's what you want. That's all the paint talked about as far as paint is concerned, but okay, what about the sculpt? The sculpt of this thing, I would say this is serviceable. This is clearly a Clonetrooper helmet. It looks like a Clonetrooper helmet. There's no inherent major details that are missing, and that's good. I would be upset if they forgot details on this thing. I will, however, say, if you are the type of person who is excessively detail-oriented and you want this to be as perfect of a replica as possible, shut up! It has an electronic feature and I keep accidentally hitting the button, which we'll get into momentarily. But if you're the person who wants that perfect sculpt, that unequivocally movie-accurate magical goodness, this is probably not the right helmet for you. The first detail of it that I can point out is when you look at the indents here in the cheek, they're there and they're sized appropriately, but the depth of that, right, that should be further inset. This, I don't know if it's really showing up on camera that well, but it's more flat. It's not as, the cut is not as deep as it ought to be. And in person, it looks fine. It's serviceable as a helmet, you know, like I said, but it's not that epic, accurate, like amazing, it came off of the screen and it's the real thing kind of quality of the copy, of the replica-ness. That also was a sentence I just said, eloquent, aren't I? Quick point of comparison in another replica. This is actually an accessory that comes with the Hot Toy Captain Rex figure, the 1/6 Captain Rex, and this is a 3/32 Clonetrooper helmet, and you can see that the cheek sort of indentation there is a much deeper cut into the helmet. So as far as the form factor of the Black Series replica style helmet, it's comparable. As far as that comparison to this guy, like, there's a pretty good side by side. You know, you can see that this Hot Toy helmet is a much deeper cut in that cheek indent as opposed to this Black Series helmet. So, that's a thing. Also, I would point out that the corners of the visor, these corners here, are a little more rounded when compared to this guy. The corners here are much sharper, and I think that's a bit of a product of Disney and the Clone Wars series, that sort of thing, because I feel like their helmets and their Clone Trooper armor is sort of getting homogenized between the Clone Wars animated style, the Revenge of the Sith live action troopers, and then there's now the new version of the clone armor that's actually a physical costume from the Disney Plus stuff. The last sort of visual sort of strangeness is the gray stripe, like I mentioned. If you know the clone helmets, you know, but this gray stripe is also an inset detail, and that is also the case here on the Black Series helmet. You can barely see it though, and I find that odd. There's room in the helmet. They could have molded that properly. They just kind of sort of didn't for whatever reason. This cut should be at least something like, and I bet if you look on the 501st Legion, their standards are something specifically different for what I'm about to say, but I would think at least 1/8 of an inch. This should be a little bit deeper of a cut. This, of course, is just a minor gripe, but it's there. It is different. Something I also find strange is this is a very strange decision to me on Hasbro's behalf, and it's the way they've done the grill. So, you know, we've got the white plastic here, the white plastic here. The gray is actually its own separate molded piece, which is fine. And then behind it, there's sort of the screen detail, the sort of vent detail. And that's fine. It's another piece of black plastic. But what I find strange is instead of it being some kind of mesh or a screen or something, it's a solid piece of plastic. And the reason I find that strange is because on the inside of this helmet, there are little cutouts, little holes going along where the frown is, so air can ventilate just a little bit. And I know that for certain because if I I've got my hand inside. Shut up! I put my hand inside here and I blow through this hole. I can feel the air moving along here. There's not a better way for me to show that to you on camera. So you just got to take my word for it. But there is ventilation through it. It's just minimal. It is minimized by the fact that this is a solid piece of plastic in here. And I find that to be a very strange choice, Hasbro. Why did you do it that way? Which I'm not going to get the answer, but whatever. It's just a strange choice, and I want to point that out. With all those being said, like I say, this is a serviceable helmet. If you're just, you know, a fan and you're like, oh, dude, Clonetrooper helmet. Yeah, I want that. That's freaking cool. You know, but if you're the hyper-detailed person, maybe not. So the outside, like I said, pretty serviceable. The inside, though, is strange to me. Not strange. I get why they did it. So what they've done is they've actually got a detailed interior. There's details in there of like little hoses and little speaker earpieces and, you know, stuff like that. That's fine. I don't know that it's accurate or inaccurate because to my knowledge, we've never really seen a detailed interior of the clone helmet. Maybe a visual dictionary, but it's not on screen, so I don't care. There is a detailed interior. You can see inside padding details and such, and that's fine. It's one of those things where they didn't need to do it, but they did it, so cool. I'm glad they did. I think in the Mandalorian helmet and in Vader's helmet, they did it in those. I don't recall the Imperial Stormtrooper having details like that. I have that helmet. I could go check it. I'm kind of lazy, so I probably won't go check it. Yeah, no, I went and got my Imperial Stormtrooper, and no, they didn't in the slightest detail the interior. I don't know why they decided that the clone helmet needed a detailed interior, but for some reason they did. That's odd. So actually, now that I have both of these on hand, that's something that needs to be addressed is the size and weight. My God. The clone helmet is really, really heavy, and it's a bit exaggerated. It's not that this thing is like stupidly heavy, but it probably weighs like 5 pounds or something. It is significantly heavier when you put the two next to each other. Also size. Clearly the clone helmet is bigger than the Imperial Storm Boy. I don't necessarily have a problem with the size being what it is. I'm kind of shocked by how heavy this is. I don't understand why it's needing to be so heavy. I imagine if you are one to buy a helmet, you want to wear it, and if it's heavy, you're not going to want to wear it for too long. I've worn a number of helmets throughout my time being a costume nerd, including some steel helmets, and yeah, when they're really stupidly heavy, you don't want to wear it all day. So I don't understand what makes this creature so heavy. It is strange to me. So the last sort of feature about this helmet that I want to talk about is actually wearing it, of course, because it's a helmet, you want to wear it. And this helmet is wearable, of course, but this is where my biggest criticism for this helmet is going to come into play. So the way this helmet is built, there is a sort of liner inside. Hard to see on camera, but there is a ring inside there. It goes around your head and it has a strap that goes over the top. Think like a hard hat liner. So, okay, it's adjustable. You can size it to yourself. Cool. The instructions to this helmet are pretty straightforward, but it shows in the instructions you can remove the liner, size it to yourself, and then you put the liner back in. Now that is not on face value a bad idea. The Mandalorian helmet has the same type of liner, but you couldn't remove it. Here's the Mandalorian helmet, and inside you might be able to actually see better than the clone helmet, but it has that same sort of liner. In this helmet, that liner is not much of an issue. Real quick. I can put the helmet on, I can turn and look around, I can look up and down. It's fine. There's no real issues with the actual liner. Which is not much to say about the character, but that's another conversation. So when it comes to this helmet, the liner works and it's fine. For this helmet, it's not the same frickin' story. Like the instructions suggest, you can remove, shut up. You can remove the liner, right? So that's what I did when I got it. You know, put it on your head, get it where it feels comfortable. And you'll notice right here and here, as I look like a moron, you've got these little plasticky bits. These are the little connection points to secure this to the helmet. So the liner clips back in, but you'll notice, look at this. See how it swivels? That shouldn't swivel, my dude. That's not good. So this helmet, which is bigger, roomier than either the Mandalorian or the Imperial Stormtrooper, I don't even have to take my glasses off, man. I can just put this on. Let me get my jacket out of the way. See, I'm gonna hold still, but I can do this, right? Because now the helmet liner is loose in here, and it's capable, yeah, the helmet liner is capable of swiveling inside this helmet, which means the helmet isn't going to stay secure on my head. So just to reiterate what I said, if you couldn't hear me, but the liner is capable of swiveling freely inside this helmet because there's so much room, it's capable of moving, right? That's not good. If you want to wear a helmet, you want to be able to see out of the helmet, you need the liner or whatever padding or whatever's inside here, you need it to be stationary. That is not stationary. That's a big, major, poopy bad thing. So not only can the liner move, but this liner, compared to the Mandalorian helmet, this one, the liner feels like it's made out of cheaper plastic or something. I don't know. It's very, very much a poopy bad thing. It's something that I find frustrating because I want to wear a helmet. I need the helmet to stay secure on my head, right? And this one looks fine enough. I wouldn't imagine the 501st Legion approving this helmet for trooping, but for the average collector, the average customer, they're gonna see this, they're gonna be satisfied with the way it looks, and they're gonna wanna wear it. But the liner moves, and that's shit. So that for me is a major poopy bad thing. I'm not happy with that. I, being a costuming nerd, know that I have ways of fixing it. I can take cushion foam, open cell squishy cushion foam, and I can put that inside this helmet strategically and make this thing sit up high enough and, you know, forward, and when I can get this thing positioned on my head with foam and make this usable. But I'm not every customer who's gonna buy this. They're gonna be the average folks who are just Star Wars fans who are gonna buy this and potentially be annoyed or upset or angry about that. My hope is that this is just a lemon, not I got one with a shit liner. So if you get this helmet and you don't have a liner that's loose like that, I'm good, and I hope not. I hope that you get one with a better liner. What I'm hoping it's just because I removed it and then put it back. I think what happened is it's looser now because I removed it and put it back, which is stupid, but you know, Hasbro has on occasion made stupid decisions, so there you go. So now all that out of the way, the helmet comes with an electronic voice changer feature. I personally, and I think many people who are going to buy this helmet who are of similar mindset or age as myself are not going to give two shits of a rat's ass that this has an electronic feature. Most people are going to say, I just want the helmet, I don't care about the electronics. I think the same can be said about the Stormtrooper, the Mandalorian, and even to an extent the Darth Vader helmet. Shoot, even I have the Luke Skywalker Red 5 helmet, and I quite like that helmet overall, but it has electronic features in it that are utterly unnecessary. And my assumption, because I'm not an insider into any kind of business practices of Hasbro, my assumption is that they throw those features in here into these helmets because A, they need to license it A, they need to license it as a toy, and B, it helps them jack the price up just that little bit, right? In any case, we'll go ahead and show off the electronic features. Firstly, the battery tray is in the back of the The battery tray is hidden behind this panel. This just pops off very easily, and the battery compartment is hidden there. You need a Phillips head screwdriver, and there's 3 AAA batteries. I'll have footage show you how that works. And then the battery tray goes back, and this panel right back on. That I honestly, fantastic. The way you hid the battery tray is quite good. It's pretty darn seamless overall. Good job. Just to compare to the old Stormtrooper helmet, the Imperial Stormtrooper has these ugly cuts in the back of the helmet and this big ugly door that you can see with this pull tab sort of thing going on, and it's just, man, what a way to ruin the form factor of this helmet. Whereas on the clone helmet, they hid the door better. So, you know, it's one of those things. Like I say, I don't care about the electronic features. I think there's probably a lot of people who buy this that don't care about the electronics. At least on this helmet, they hid the battery door better, so it doesn't ruin the look of this thing. Thank you. But now let's go ahead and demo the electronics. So there's this ear cap, this black little greebly is the button to turn it on. So let me put the helmet on and we will listen to the oh so wonderful voice changer feature. Button on the side. And now we have the voice changer. Wah ha 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 ha. It sounds nothing like a Clonetrooper, to me at least. I don't know what this sound effect is supposed to be, but it doesn't read as Star Wars in any way to me. I've never heard a character that sounds like this, in Star Wars at least, but it does kind of remind me of maybe like Megatron or some kind of Transformer. Also, the way the padding in here, or not padding, the liner, it's sitting in a way where my jacket is kind of holding it in place, so damn it, I need to put foam in here. I can't really tell the quality of the volume of the speaker, so from inside, so whatever the video sounds like is what I'm gonna see later when I edit this. But that's what we get out of the electronic effect. And when I stop talking, you get the little static click, so like that. I do appreciate that detail that we get that sort of click at the end of the sound effect. So that's at least a nice detail to the feature. So if you do like this voice changer thing, then hey, so that's a good thing and a good detail onto it. And to be clear, the speaker for this, it's not the aerators in front, it's actually this right here in the back of the helmet. And you can see there's the little cutouts for the speaker. So actually with me turned away, the sound may improve, you may hear it better, but I'm looking at a wall and I don't want to just look at a wall. So that's what we get out of the electronic feature for this helmet. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the button. And now it's off, and now it's just me again. As far as a buying recommendation, I would recommend this to somebody who has some extra cash and they want a Clonetrooper helmet and they're not particularly discerning about the details overall. If they want something that's just like, hey, I want a Clonetrooper helmet, this is an okay enough purchase. So I hope all of that information laid out before you can help you make an informed purchasing decision. As I said, this is a decent helmet, not perfect. I hope that that will help anyone looking to buy this helmet. So, as to say, thank you very much for watching. Please, if you feel inclined to do so, do all those YouTube things, the likes, the comments, the subscribe-a-libes, and I will see you in the next video. Farewell, travelers.